Hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatinella binti Rosli. Before discussing the legislation, it is important for us to understand what sexual harassment actually means. Sexual harassment refers to any unwelcome sexual conduct that causes discomfort, humiliation, intimidation, or threatens a person's dignity. Such behavior can happen to anyone regardless of gender, age, or position, and it may occur in various settings, including in the workplace. Next, I will explain the objectives of the legislation on the prevention and eradication of sexual harassment in the workplace. The first objective is to protect victims. The legislation aims to provide legal protection for individuals who experience sexual harassment. It ensures that victims have the right to seek justice and the complaint are handled fairly and appropriately. This helps victims feel supported and encourage them to report incidents without any fear. The second objective is to establish the Tribunal for Anti-Sexual Harassment. The establishment of this tribunal provides victims with the avenue to seek remedies and compensation. Compared to ordinary court proceedings, the tribunal offers a faster, simpler, and more accessible mechanism for resolving complaints. This makes the process less complicated and more efficient for the victims. The third objective is to promote a safe and respectful workplace. Through this legislation, employees and employees are encouraged to maintain a professionalism and mutual respect. By creating awareness and establishing clear procedures, the number of sexual harassment cases can be reduced. This will lead to a healthier working environment.
Hello, my name is Nur Aminah Shabini Sarudin. Next, I will explain the two main categories of sexual harassment in the workplace. The first category is sexual coercion, also known as quid pro quo. The term of quid pro quo means something for something. This occurs when a person in a position of authority, such as supervisor or manager, links employment benefits or penalty to an employee's response to sexual advance. For example, a supervisor may promise a promotion in exchange for a date, or a manager may make a job offer dependent on compliance with sexual requests. It can also involve negative consequences such as demotion or termination when employees reject such conduct. In this situation, the employee feels pressure because their job or career opportunity are affected. The second category is sexual annoyance, also known as a hostile work environment. This happens when unwelcome sexual behavior is severe or repeated enough to create an intimidating, hostile, or offensive workplace. For example, include repeated sexual jokes or comments, unwanted physical contact, displaying sexually explicit materials, persistent unwanted flirting, or making inappropriate remarks about someone's body appearance or gender. Even if there is no direct threat or promise related to employment, this behavior can make employees feel uncomfortable, unsafe, and stressed at work. In summary, sexual coercion involves the abuse of authority to obtain sexual favor, while sexual annoyance creates a hostile work environment through unwanted sexual behavior. Both forms are recognized as workplace sexual harassment and should be prevented and addressed seriously by employers. Next, I will explain the different forms of harassment that can happen in the workplace. There are five main forms of harassment: physical, verbal, non-verbal, visual, and online or cyber harassment. Firstly, physical harassment involves unwanted physical contact such as touching, hugging, or kissing without consent. Secondly, verbal harassment include inappropriate comments, sexual jokes, offensive language, or questions that make someone uncomfortable. Thirdly, non-verbal harassment happens through actions or gestures such as staring, inappropriate facial expression, or suggestive body language. Fourth, visual harassment involves showing offensive or sexual explicit picture, video, or other visual material. Finally, online or cyber harassment occur through technology. Example including sending unwanted messages, email, explicit content, repeated phone call, or stalking someone online. It is important to recognize this form of harassment because they can affect a person's safety, confidence, and work performance.
Hey Aisha, you look so beautiful. Maybe if you smile more at me, I can consider recommending you for a new promotion.
Thank you, but I believe promotion is based on work performance.
Hey Aisha, don't be so serious lah. Why don't we go to Mama together?
I'm sorry, but I'm not comfortable with that.
Anna, you are so already. Let's go. Yes, come in.
Excuse me, Miss Lina. I would like to report an incident that made me asked to get work.
Yeah, Aisha, can you tell me more what happened and who did it to you?
My supervisor made a good comment and implied that my promotion could depend on relationship with her. I feel pressure and uncomfortable.
Okay, I understand. Okay, first of all, thank you so much, Aisha, for informing me. As you know, sexual harassment in any form are not tolerated in our workplace. Don't worry, we will do an investigation. Thank you.
Are you calling me, Miss Yana?
Yes, Ashila.
What is it?
Okay, as you can see here, there's a colleague that complained about you, that she'll do a sexual harassment towards you.
Wait. I didn't mean any harm. I was only joking.
Sheila, regardless of your attention, behavior that creates a discomfort towards your colleague will be considered as sexual harassment, and this company are responsible to create a safe working environment for all employees.
Alright, Miss Yana, I take note.
name is Nur Edina Ariana binti Azmi. This scenario demonstrates verbal sexual harassment and quid pro quo harassment where inappropriate comment, requests or advances are made and career-related benefits such as promotion, job security or favorable treatment are implicitly or explicitly offered in exchange for personal attention or compliance. Such behavior creates a hostile and uncomfortable work environment, undermines professional boundaries, and affect the victim's dignity, well-being, and ability to perform their duties effectively.
My name is Nushafika Hilaritu Masfardi. Now I will discuss some of the key challenges in enforcing workplace sexual harassment law. The first challenge is the fear of reporting. Many victims are reluctant to report a sexual harassment because they fear a retaliation, victim blaming, or negative consequences that may affect their career progression. As a result, many incidents remain unreported because making it more difficult for the law to be enforced effectively. Another challenge is a weak employer responsibility. Some employers do not provide a clear reporting channels or implement a comprehensive workplace policy and making it difficult for a victim to seek assistance and protection. According to Hamid 2023, the absence of clear employee obligation may reduce the effectiveness of sexual harassment prevention and enforcement. The next challenge is the difficulty in defining the harassment. Different individuals may interpret the certain behavior differently, creating the uncertainty when identifying, interpreting, and proving a sexual harassment case. This may affect the consistency of legal enforcement and the outcome of investigation. In addition, limited victim protection remains a significant challenge. Victims may experience the late complaint procedure and have access to limited legal remedies, which can discourage them from pursuing a formal action. Consequently, this limitation may reduce the overall effectiveness of workplace sexual harassment law in protecting employees. Furthermore, enforcement becomes even more challenging in informal and non-traditional employment settings such as the gig economy and freelance work, which are the main focus of this issue. Unlike employees in formal organizations, gig and freelance workers are often excluded from the traditional employment structure. They may not have access to human resources department, formal complaint mechanism, or clear employee accountability. As highlighted by Saleh 2023, these workers commonly experience a limited employment protection and make it more difficult for them to report the incidents and seek legal remedies. This challenge also gives rise to several legal and managerial issues that affect the enforcement of workplace sexual harassment law. From a legal perspective, there are still legislative gaps in the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act 2022, particularly regarding the protection of gig workers and the clarification of employee liability in non-traditional employment settings. From a managerial perspective, many informal workplaces do not have a dedicated human resources department to manage a complaint. Some organizations also fail to implement a clear workplace policy or provide adequate awareness programs and regular training on sexual harassment prevention. Consequently, employees may not know how or where to report incidents and making enforcement even more difficult.
My name is Khalida Ashilah binti Abdul Rashid. Today, I will discuss two important laws in Malaysia that help prevent and address sexual harassment in the workplace, which is the Employment Act 1955 and the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act 2022. First, the Employment Act 1955, specifically Sections 81A to 81G, provides a framework for handling sexual harassment complaints in the workplace. These sections define sexual harassment as any unwanted conduct of sexual nature. Employees have the right to lodge a complaint if they experience sexual harassment from an employer, co-worker, or subordinate. The Act also requires employers to investigate complaints and take appropriate action. If employers fail to investigate, they may face legal consequences. In addition, the Act protects employees from victimization or retaliation after making a complaint. In terms of effectiveness, the Employment Act 1955 has helped establish a formal complaint and investigation process within organizations. It has also increased employer accountability in handling workplace harassment cases. However, its effectiveness is still limited by inconsistent enforcement. Many victims are reluctant to report incidents due to fear of retaliation, stigma, or a lack of confidence in the complaint system. Next is Anti-Sexual Harassment Act 2022 is Malaysia's first standalone law specifically addressing sexual harassment. This act provides a broader definition of sexual harassment and applies not only in workplaces but also in educational institutions and public spaces. One of the main features of this act is the establishment of the Tribunal for Anti-Sexual Harassment. This tribunal allows victims to seek compensation through a simpler and faster process compared to going to court. This makes justice more accessible for victims and encourages more people to come forward and report harassment. Compared to the Employment Act 1955, the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act 2022 offers stronger and more comprehensive protection. However, because the Act is still relatively new, its long-term effectiveness in reducing workplace sexual harassment has not yet been fully assessed. So, in conclusion, both laws play an important role in preventing and addressing sexual harassment in Malaysia. While the Employment Act 1955 focuses on workplace complaint procedures and employer responsibilities, the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act 2022 provides broader protection and easier access to justice. Together, these laws contribute to creating a safer and more respectful working environment.
There are 4 key recommendations to improve the effectiveness of workplace sexual harassment prevention. First, enhance corporate accountability by establishing transparent, secure, and anti-retaliatory reporting channels. This can reduce employees' fear of reporting incidents and encourage victims to come forward. Second, make workplace training mandatory. Regular training on workplace behavior and professional boundaries can help employees understand what constitutes sexual harassment and how to prevent it. Third, expand legal protection to non-traditional sectors such as gig workers and independent contractors who often do not have access to formal HR support. Lastly, streamline legal procedure by implementing faster case resolution timeline within the Anti-Sexual Harassment Tribunal, ensuring victims receive timely justice. In conclusion, Malaysia has a strong legal framework through the Employment Act 1955 and the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act 2022, which provide important protection against workplace sexual harassment. However, there are still significant challenges in practice. Factors such as workplace stigma, Fear of retaliation and weak organizational support continue to discourage victims from reporting cases. In addition, managerial weakness, including inadequate workplace policy, insufficient training, and the absence of HR department in informal sector, leave many workers vulnerable. Therefore, while the law provides a solid foundation, law alone are not enough. Effective enforcement, continuous education, and inclusive protection for all workers are necessary to create a safe and more respectful working environment. That's all from us. Thank you.